Hi, this is Matthew Robert Payne. I've written 215 non-fiction Christian books, and I've got 6,100 videos here on my YouTube channel. So I'm a Christian teacher and a prophet. So are aliens real, and can you meet them? For many years, I wondered whether aliens were real, and about 20 years ago, I had a discussion with a worship leader in a church after he dropped me home from the church. I was going to a Nepalese church for a while, and I found with Nepalese is when you get home after they've given you a lift home, that's not the end of the meeting. They like to stay for half an hour or an hour in the car before you get out, still talking. And I was only given a lift home by this worship leader once. They used to roster people on to drive me home. And on this occasion, we started talking about aliens. He said that aliens really do exist, and that there's good aliens and there's evil aliens. So most of the people who've had encounters with aliens that are reported are like wicked aliens, really evil aliens. And I heard somewhere that people who have been abducted by aliens and list their accounts, nearly everyone who's ever been abducted and operated on by aliens have been heavily into the occult. So that's a common denominator with alien abduction stories is all of 100% of the people who were abducted by aliens were heavily into the occult before that happened. But in this car, he shared that the good aliens helped the Israelites when they exodus, in the Exodus that happened when they left Egypt out of slavery and traveled to the Promised Land. It was said in the Bible that there was a cloud by day and a fire by night in the sky. Um, and I don't know if it's a fire by day or a cloud by night or a cloud by day and a fire by night, but whatever it was an army of aliens keeping protection over the Israelites because they were God's chosen people and they were protecting them sojourn from Egypt to the promised land. So that was a good encounter because that was a mysterious thing that I wondered about in the Bible, and he was able to say they were the good aliens. So here's my personal testimony. I've been doing a series of interviews with God and different people in heaven for 2.5 years, and there's four major playlists on my YouTube channel um, that have those interviews on. And the first series of interviews is called God's Last Days Message to His Children. Then there's the Fireplace Chat with the Trinity. And then there's a playlist called The Restoration of All Things. And then there's a playlist called Entering into the New Age. So uh, all those playlists combined, there's about 450 videos. And we've been preaching to heaven. Like when we record the video, the whole of heaven watches the interview, whether it be an interview with God or an interview with someone from heaven. Everyone in heaven, as part of requirements to listen to the interview. And we'd been working on discipling and transitioning heaven and teaching heaven how to enter into higher realms with God and intimacy with God. And we tried and we tried and we tried for 2.5 years. And, people in heaven just weren't cooperating. They just weren't doing their homework. They weren't pursuing God. When we started 2.5 years ago, God said he only had 100 close friends. And my friend pushed back, who does the interviews with me, and said, how's that possible? There'd be 1 billion people in heaven. Why has only God got 100 close friends? And this is necessary for when I get to the alien to give you this context. And God replied, he said, Donald Trump is the leader of the world. And I said, yeah. And he said, Donald Trump wouldn't have 100 close friends, and there's 7 billion people on Earth. And that was true. He says, what about Elon Musk? Elon Musk is the richest man, a published richest man in the world. He's not really the richest man in the world. And there's 8 billion people in the world, and he wouldn't have 100 close friends. And then God went into the reasons why people don't draw close to him. But after we done 400 interviews and got to 2.5 years, God said, I've had enough. And that was a surprise to me. And then half an hour later in an interview, I said, I've had enough. And if you don't understand what was happening there, that was God saying, I've had enough of these interviews. I've had enough. I've tried enough. It's not working. And when I said half an hour later, I've had enough, I was saying the same thing. I've had enough. These interviews aren't working. And we didn't know what was about to happen, but the person who does the interviews with me, husband who's in heaven, started to speak and started to call down judgment on the people in heaven. And as a verse in the Bible says, judgment starts in the house of God, and there's no greater house of God than heaven itself. And he started to call down judgment, and we recognized that it wasn't him, it was an entity speaking through him. And we soon come to realize that it was a female alien from another planet who'd been sent to Earth to bring heaven into correction and bring judgment down in heaven and reorder heaven and take over God's position while he goes on a sabbatical and just rests. And for you to understand that, it may be more interesting if you don't go to church or you're not a Christian, for you to understand that God had had enough and needed to have respite and go on a sabbatical. It's too hard to comprehend. There's too many thousands of hours of Christian teaching that has been programmed into you to have you believe that God is in control. God's all powerful. He wouldn't get sad. He wouldn't get depressed. He wouldn't give up. And there's just hundreds and thousands of Christian teaching that have been pumped into your narrow-minded brain that says that that could never happen, that God could get depressed, God could get sad, and God could give up. But that was the state he was in. And the alien nation had been wanting to come to Earth for 100 years, but they couldn't interject themselves until God was ready for a solution. And that's the same with someone in a drug addiction or someone, an alcoholic. It's not until they reach rock bottom in their suffering that they're ready to change, ready for help. And on that day, a few months ago, God reached his rock bottom and he just gave up. And so her name, the woman who took charge of heaven, his name is June, the same name as my mother, which I found really handy because I could remember her name easy. I'm not good at remembering names. And then later on, I don't know how much longer or when it happened, but it came out in our conversations with saints that my co-author, Tolu, who self-publishes 10 books a month, she's been getting assisted by an alien who helps her teach and helps her write. And, you know, I don't know, I don't know many authors that write 10 books per month. And I actually looked it up in ChatGPT, and they said, you know, they're either really low content books, short books, or someone's running a publishing house and publishing other authors' books, but not many people can write 10 books a month. So, like, there's supernatural ability in her writing. She had been writing for a couple of years with the assistance of a scribe angel, which is like a teaching angel that assisted me for 16 years. And my scribe angel went over to help her and was helping writing my books and helping writing hers. And but now she's got an alien whose name is Diana helping her. So I personally have seen and interacted in visions with two aliens, and so the good aliens are here, and the good aliens are coming to set order on the earth and in heaven, and they're certainly are getting heaven ready for the last days. So you may write me off as totally crazy, and I'll share with you that I've got a bipolar disorder, and with that bipolar disorder, a part of bipolar is you're able to see things and experience things that are outside of reality, and you know, a lot of inventors, a lot of entrepreneurs are bipolar because they can invent new things that don't exist and they can see outside of reality. So you may write me off as being crazy. I don't know how many crazy people can do 6,100 videos, and I don't know how many crazy people can write 215 theologically sound Christian books that sell on Amazon. So you might write me off, but it came up in a video today about J.D. Vance saying that he's going to get to the bottom of the stories about aliens. And J.D. Vance said publicly on the interview that he did an interview with Benny Johnson. He said publicly that he thinks that the sightings of aliens were demons, and what's her name? Barack Obama was interviewed about a month ago, and he said aliens exist, and so we're starting to have some stuff come to light, and not many people watch my videos. I don't expect many people to watch this video. I encourage you to like and share this video with your friends. I certainly look forward to your comments, but not all aliens have to be evil. Aliens can help you, and if you've got an ascended or a good purpose on life, an important purpose on earth, you could very well meet an alien too. God bless you. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe.